Welcome to Creative Design and Three-Dimensional Design. The core purpose of these courses is to allow students to explore a wide breadth of creativity across all the different areas that are offered. And one of the key special areas of development is that students work in the same way as a professional in the industry would work. Every time a student walks into our design studio areas, they should be stepping into the shoes of that professional person working in precisely that exact role within the industry. And this will allow students a really good first-hand knowledge of how that person works day to day on the project from inception to completion. And we hope as much as possible to give the students that fantastic range of experiences to really give them a clear insight into how those professionals work and to really produce some incredible three-dimensional design work in the process. The design of this course, from creative design at Key Stage 3 through to three-dimensional design at Key Stage 4 and then into Key Stage 5, allows students to explore a wide range of opportunities, experiences and practical knowledge and understanding gained through all of the activities that are covered right from the start of Year 7 and culminating right through at the end of Year 13. This curriculum map illustrates exactly how the course follows Key Stage 3 from Year 7 into 8 and 9 as a real core foundation to what we cover then further on down the line at GCSE, Year 10 and 11, and then into Key Stage 5 with Year 12 and 13's curriculum. Everything is designed so one element builds upon the next. For instance, Year 7 will have a sculptural unit alongside an architectural unit using two different types of materials and different ways of achieving an outcome. Year 8 follows a very similar suit, looking at set design and professional prop making for film and TV, and then progressing into looking at traditional classical ways of sculpting with a figures in motion project. Year 9, the culmination really of Key Stage 3 with the foundation completed then with students looking at opting for three-dimensional design at GCSE. We're looking really at two projects there which give them a real flavour then of Key Stage 4. The start of Year 10 moving forward with a structural project, so Year 9 has an extreme shelters project with really cool architecture built within an extreme environment, all carefully modelled in different materials, and that also culminates then for Year 9 with a character design project which allows students a little bit more freedom and a little bit more exploration of ideas as they create their own character for either a film, TV show or video game. And it can be something that's been taken from a book and they're just kind of creating from scratch as a designer would. Year 10 and 11 moves forward with really core skills in how the assessment objectives are matched across our AQA examination board, so we have a lot of rigorous workshop work at the start of Year 10, moving into the Sustain project which spans Year 10 into Year 11, and then of course we have the examination phase after that. Year 10 culminates with the Sustain project which then moves into Year 11 with a mock exam just before Christmas time of Year 11, and that gives a real practical flavour of experience how the real exam would work, and that 10 hours in the studio really is valuable time to work out how a final piece can be put together within that time frame. Year 11 then progresses after Christmas with the externally set task from the AQA exam board. Looking at Key Stage 5, Year 12 starts in a similar way. It builds upon all those core skills that have been developed throughout Year 10 and 11, and we start with really intensive workshops in different materials and techniques, again fulfilling all of the criteria for the AQA exam board, and they move then partway through Year 12 into their own sustained personal investigation, which then spans into the January time of Year 13. Everything is carefully built upon from one technique to the next, from one artist and designer to the next, and the work really becomes of a very, very personal nature as the personal investigation progresses. February of Year 13 sees the start of the externally set task, and that culminates in a 15-hour exam just after Easter time. This is an overview of how creative design and three-dimensional design curriculum works across Key Stage 3, Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5, including on there the titles of the projects that are covered, right throughout Key Stage 3, 4 and 5, and specifically stating in Key Stage 4 and 5 where the sustained study, the personal investigation and the externally set tasks are set. Year 7 starts with Architecture Reimagined, and students look at the exciting work of architects such as Frank Gehry, Zaha Hadid and the MVRDV collective to explore architecture in its broadest and most expressive senses, working with paper and card and drawing and really playing around with ideas, having no kind of preconceptions, just really letting their imaginations free. And they really enjoy working on industrial kind of concept drawing, looking at rapid prototypes with card, just having some fun, experimenting, and then moving into completed foam board and card architectural scale models. The second project of Year 7 we call Fantastic Beasts, and students look at the concept of a fantastical beast, looking at myths, legends, fantasy. They study the work of artists such as Terrell Whitlatch and sculptor Ellen Jewett to be able to explore observation drawing and ideas development and really let their imaginations go crazy, thinking about the type of creature or idea that they might want to kind of cover. It can be things that have been developed from previous work seen in movies or in TV shows. It could be video game based, it could be something from a book and they're actually creating that design as a concept artist themselves from scratch. And that project works through drawings, design ideas, progresses into a wire model armature, which is then covered in polymer clay, leading to a really professional finished piece of work which would not look out of place in a concept artist's professional studio. Progressing into Year 8, students cover a project on set design, and they look at the wider world of production design, the industry and how those individuals in that industry work. The idea is, as I said at the start, that students step into the shoes of that professional when they come into our studio areas, and this allows them on this project to look at film, TV, video game, books again, and they look at and study the work of award-winning designer Stuart Craig, who was behind all the concept work for Harry Potter. They look at concept art drawing, and they look at using a digital tablet to work with, using Photoshop for digital graphics. And the work progresses then into 3D rapid prototypes in card and paper and clay, moving into a professional mixed media set design model of a chosen scene from their chosen genre. The second project of Year 8 studies figures in motion, and this is to give the students a real insight into anatomical structure, form, proportion, and they look at a lot of techniques developed by Leonardo da Vinci to develop their drawings. They look at the futurist movement as well with their interpretations of capturing motion within sculpture and painting, and they consider characters of the character as well, the costumes, and build a backstory and really work using their imagination to create something that's really truly unique. They do look at the work of Alexander McQueen and Moran Kranja, which gives them a little bit of an idea about how a professional would make large-scale sculptures that could go on the world stage before they embark upon a project outcome that is made with wire as an armature and then using Modrock plaster bandage and using mixed media sculptural techniques with polymer clay again to capture that expressive gesture of an exciting figure in motion. Year 9 is the start of the end of the foundation phase of creative design, and they start the year with an Extreme Shelters project. Now, as this is the options year, and as the Extreme Shelter project in particular lends itself very, very closely to the way that Year 10 GCSE course starts, the Extreme Shelter project is a really poignant piece of industrial design that students can really immerse themselves into as a professional designer would. Looking at the issue of creating can be quite a bizarre looking designer building that is set within an extreme environment. So it could be a cliff environment, it could be in a water-based area, it could even be off-world on the moon or on Mars. They practice professional marker pen drawing, referencing the work of top designer Reed Schlegel, who's an industry leader in the field. They develop thumbnail designs, progressing through marker pen renders and culminating in a final design, which is then built within a scale model environment. So they use a wide range of 3D materials, from card to foam board to foam carving, using Modrock plaster bandage, polymer clays, miniature scaled kind of timbers to create their wooden effects within their models. And really, they explore everything possible material-wise to be able to create a really superb rendered piece of architectural professional model building. The final Key Stage 3 project of Year 9 is character design, and this builds upon the work that was completed in Year 8 looking at figures in motion. So all the projects link and build further skill acquisition, learning, knowledge and understanding. So students for this project explore the professional world of character design, either for video game or film or television again, or books, and they reference the work of concept artist Wesley Burt, who's an industry leader in the field. They look at anatomical structure and form drawing, and they build upon their knowledge and understanding, enabling them to use their imagination to develop a head and shoulders bust of their own character. They can reference historical and contextual information to get a really superb result. We refer to a lot of different artists and designers in this project. You could be looking at the Weta Workshop designers who designed Lord of the Rings, with all that kind of historical reference, or it could be Doug Chang and the Star Wars designers who've referenced more classical kind of style within their futuristic, fantastical worlds. The final piece is made from wire and foam, looking at Modrock covering with the plaster bandage technique, and then looking at a 3D polymer clay to finalise. Mixed media is also used, including fabrics and other materials to complete the decoration of their finished character design. Three-dimensional design at Key Stage 4 is incredibly popular. The course builds upon the rich and varied foundations and knowledge and skills from Key Stage 3, and the GCSE students embark upon a really innovative and dynamic course of study, exploring 3D design in its broadest sense. The bulk of the work is covered through the sketchbook, with lots of outcomes that are created throughout the 2-year course. The course is comprised of 2 discrete units of work: Component 1, the personal investigation, and Component 2, the externally set task. Component 1, the personal investigation, begins at the start of Year 10 with a large series of workshops that are based around broad themes, and this allows students to explore a wide range of materials, techniques and processes with amazing, rich sketchbook work documenting every step of the way. The creative journey in this respect is really, really important. The AQA exam board in their specifications state that students have to have that opportunity to explore a wide range of media towards the start of the course, and the way our course is structured allows this. Students around Easter time start to develop ideas for their own personal investigation properly, and this is the main SUSTAIN project that will begin around May half term, and it allows them then to progress right throughout Year 11 up to the Christmas of Year 11. And this project culminates then in a final piece being created as a 10-hour mock exam. This gives students the essential knowledge and understanding they need of working under timed conditions for the externally set task real exam. And it also allows them to fully complete their personal investigation Component 1 portfolio of work. The externally set task begins on the 1st of January or thereabouts of Year 11, and students are set a series of different starting points by the exam board. They work for around 3 months, completing a sketchbook full of research work and investigative work with 3D outcomes as prototypes, and then they have their 10-hour final exam. Again, experience from the mock allows them to fully understand the parameters of how that 10 hours should be used, and students create incredible Component 2 sketchbooks and outcomes. Three-dimensional design at Key Stage 5 is our flagship course. We are immensely proud of our A-Level 3D design course, which effectively builds upon all of the practical and theoretical knowledge and understanding developed throughout the GCSE. The A-Level course is comprised of 2 discrete units of work: Component 1, the personal investigation, and Component 2, the externally set tasks. Component 1 allows the students to really immerse themselves in the broadest range of creativity, and they work in their sketchbooks, developing ideas, research, knowledge and understanding, coupled with much work outside the sketchbook, prototyping, working with materials and media, and creating incredible outcomes along the way. The range of skills and techniques that are covered really is exceptional. They work in traditional media, they work in new media, they explore digital work alongside practical traditional skills, and I think the immersive nature of that course really allows for some superb outcomes. Investigative work in sketchbooks is rich and thorough, and sketchbook examples show a real knowledge, understanding and an in-depth investigation into the projects covered. Again, AQA are very specific that at the start of the course a lot of workshop skill is covered, and the course satisfies that adequately. We move into a range of personal approaches very, very rapidly, and each student is allowed to be able to explore their own personal kind of directions and ideas about design, with much support from personal one-to-one tutoring during every lesson. Students feel confident in the materials and media that they use, and this prepares them fully for the real sustained personal investigation that begins around May half term of Year 12. This is where students begin to put together a personal project of their own choice with lots of guidance and support from the teaching staff. That project culminates at the end of January of Year 13 and will be really the main part of Component 1, achieving the maximum assessment marks. It really is a very special project, and the work that is covered by our students and the range of what they end up exploring is phenomenal. It really is. Component 2 starts immediately at the start of February of Year 13, and that is the externally set task by the exam board. Now they set the task probably about 5 or 6 starting points, and students immediately begin to immerse themselves in that particular project. That runs until just after the Easter of Year 13 and culminates in a 15-hour examination. The practical work that is completed then is all combined into their portfolio for assessment. Our three-dimensional design students go on to a massive range of different courses. Many go into architecture or design courses, some go into civil engineering, some go down a direct art-based route, and some go straight into the world of work. We are incredibly proud of this course and the results of what these students achieve and the amazing destinations that they go on to.